So I spent the day outside. I have been working my gardens, I mean, just nonstop. Tilling, I've been trenching, I've been putting out compost, I've been doing a lot of amending, hanging trellising. I'm getting my garden ready. I'm ready to start moving some of these brassicas out of my greenhouse, but I want to give you a big tour of what it is that I'm actually growing. I didn't do a lot of seed starting videos, and so you don't really know what it is that I'm doing this year. I just didn't share, and I'm sorry. But I thought I'd walk you through and kind of show you the greenhouse and all the beautiful plants. I have a stray cat that showed up on our property about a month and a half or so ago, and she got locked in my greenhouse on accident. And because of that, she laid on top of a tray of seed starts. Luckily, it was just like dill and leeks and little things that are easy to replant. But yeah, I've got a whole tray that's just basically dead. So I'm not happy about that. I'm surprised my greenhouse is still here after she was in here, because she could have eaten everything and ruined everything, and she didn't. But I'm gonna walk you around and kind of show you what it is that I have growing. I'm getting ready to move all these brassicas out, and as soon as I do, then I can start moving in all the warm weather stuff and just kind of rotate from inside and out. But I bring it through the greenhouse, and then we'll talk about the stuff inside as well, and you can see what it is that I'm doing. I mean, I have been working my tail off trying to get plants ready, because I'm going to grow big this year. And that was my whole plan, was to get as much out as possible, fill as much spacing, and then just utilize every inch of my property that I could to grow food. All right, time to show you some plants. Thank you guys for coming along. And yeah, let's talk about plants now. All right, so we'll start over here. I've got all my onions. I did my onions in a succession plant this year so that I could have onions growing throughout the garden, and I can use them as pest control as well as just harvest them when I need them, and not so much as a long storing onion. I need to cut the tops off these and separate those. But I've got quite a few varieties that I'm growing. I've got some Texas Granos, some Crystal Whites, some Utah Yellows. I've got some Florence Reds, I think that's what they're called. And then I have just some back in the back that were grew from a store-bought onion. I grew the store-bought onion, and then I ended up saving the seeds, and it's actually doing really, really well. But these are already getting back to 5 to 6 inches tall, so I'm going to have to trim them again here real soon. And that's just something you need to do to get a good bulb on an onion. So they'll get trimmed down really soon. But most of the stuff in here is herbs and flowers and cold crops. So I've got some dill here that made it. Or maybe that's fennel. They both look the same. Oh, that's fennel. So I have some fennel here. I have some celosia. I have some larkspur. I have some hollyhocks. Had to move the sweet potatoes in because if you can see this stem, 0 leaves. My cats decided that they were going to eat my sweet potatoes. So to keep them safe, I moved them out here. The cat that came through and stayed in the actual greenhouse, these are the trays that she went through. It's okay because it's herbs, and one's, you know, some lettuce, and then a lot of dill. But I can salvage what's here and then move on, I guess. But I've got toothache plant, I've got summer savory, I've got some marjoram, some lettuces, some tarragon. I have one lonely little valerian. Oh, sorry, that leaf. One lonely little valerian. She killed the rest. So I'm going to plant some more of those. I have some hyssop. I have some bronze leaf fennel. She ended up killing my rhubarbs, which I'm really upset about. One may come back. I'm not sure. We'll see. And over here are some leeks. These are actually ones that will go out in the garden first. I have those in quite a few succession sowings as well. Looking over here at this one, it's some dill. Some of it's doing okay. Some of it was squished. And then I have some salsify. And this little guy is summer savory. So I've got some more summer savory. Got a couple pots with just green onions in there. I like to plant them in pots and put them in my herb garden. And then I have some that I can harvest immediately. And then I have some that I can wait and harvest later on. Just how I do things. This is Granat Cabbage, and it is supposed to be a warm weather tolerant cabbage. It's a Chinese cabbage, so I planted a lot of it, and hopefully I can get that to last. And I've got some more sweet potatoes back there, waiting for those to sprout, but they have roots, just no sprouts yet. Up on this shelf is more of the medicinal type herbs and some more flowers. I've got bergamot and mullein. I've got some horehound, and I have some marshmallow. I have some parsley, some catnip, some sage, some hyssop, some rue, some tansy, some lemon balm, bunch of celery back here in the back of this one. They're doing actually really, really well. And then I have Monarch of Velt, Flowers and some black carnations. These monarchs are veldt. They do not like transplanting, so I only have one that made it. Over in this tray is a bunch more over in this tray is a bunch more herbs. I've got some chamomile. I've got some white sage. I mean, just some spinach. That needs to actually go into a container. I've got some more fennel. I love fennel. Absolutely love fennel. And this, I believe, is another parsley as well. Nope, that's a cilantro. So I missed that one. I've got to get that one put into a pot. These are all of my bare root trees. I did check them. They have new growth coming back, but you can see they're just a weedy mess. So basically what I'm going to do is just pull all that out, pot them into bigger buckets. Speaking of bigger buckets, my elderberries back here, those are ready for the ground now. I need to make sure I know what these are before I put them out. This one is actually big enough to put in the ground, but I don't know what it is. The tag fell off, and I don't want to take chances with what's out there. And then I have my Goji Berries, which I grew from little tiny twigs as well, and they're doing really well. So those are ready for the ground finally. And back here, in the very back, that is Ponytail Radish. I did a lot of radishes in here to go ahead and get some good harvest. And again, I succession sowed those. It makes it easier so you're not eating all your radishes at one time. And then in front, I have some purple sprouting broccolis. I have some cauliflowers, some Romanescos, some red rock cabbage, some Savoy cabbage. I do believe Calabrese broccolis. And I think that's all that's over in this area. But these are all doing really good, and they're getting ready to go out in the garden. I put a lot of things in pots, and then I can separate them later just because they're, you know, mass amounts. Or like these lettuces, I have 2 here. I can use those as cut and, you know, eat and let them come back. They're cut and come type lettuces. Got a big pot of cilantro started. I will get another one again. If I can get at least 5 pots of cilantro this year, then I am doing perfect for my salsas. And I've gotten the one started. I've got one that I can transplant, and I have another one I've seeded. So we're getting there. We're working on that. That is some arugula. Back here, I have some Long Island dill. Garlic chives, I have never successfully been able to grow those. I don't know why, but I can grow regular chives, but not garlic chives. And then I have some more bronze leaf fennel in this little pot because I love it. This is actually a spinach mustard. I put those in pots because I want to eat it young. I don't want it to get giant leafed. So this is actually ready to start harvesting, and I will probably make that into a nice yummy salad. One of my favorites is just a leafy green salad with mixed greens, and that's the reason why I grew those. These are some more of the, I think these are the Walla Walla onions. I got tired of separating them, so I just threw them in there to leave them until I find time to do it again. And back there is an Italian dandelion, and it's made for the greens, and it's not supposed to be as bitter as wild dandelion. So I thought I'd give it a shot. Here is some lovage. It's doing really well. I have an area over there where that one died. Apparently it didn't get enough water. That's okay, it happens. Lola Rosa lettuce, and this one was actually kind of named after me. It is the Drunken Woman. Yes, Drunken Woman lettuce. So those are ready to start harvesting as well too. When we're looking down here, we've got some cardoons and some artichokes. I'm trying to put in more perennials. Every year I do this, and then for some reason I forget about them and till them in. So this year I'm marking them, and I am adamant about keeping my artichokes. I did have one spot over in my wood pile, or woods area, sorry, that they came back, but then they didn't again. So I don't know what happened with them. Maybe it got too cold. This is basically all just cold crops in this area, and I have a big mix. I have some Wakefield cabbages. I have some scarlet kale. I have some red Russian kale. I have some blue Scotch kale. Back here is kohlrabis. I have white and purple. I have some purple collards somewhere. I'm not sure if these are all kohlrabis or not. That's too hard to reach. But I also have Copenhagen cabbages. And then this should be... Oh, these are getting so thick I can barely get through them. Dragon mustard. It actually gets purple speckling in it, and it's beautiful. So I've got some dragon mustard. I've got my Swiss chard right there. Bunch of Napa cabbages, because I am going to make some kimchi, and I want a lot of Napa cabbages. I've got some early cabbages here. This is the broccoli rabe, but if you see the size of these plants, see how little they are compared to everything else? It doesn't grow very well for me, and I'm not sure why. It's the same soil, same everything. Purple collards, these should be regular collards. Back here should be more of something purple, I'm sure, because I planted a lot of purple. Yep, purple collards. So a lot of purple vegetables. A lot of us are doing that this year. It's a great thing to do because it adds beauty to your garden, as well as, you know, high in anthocyanins to give you some good boost in your metabolism. But that's all the cold crops. And then I have over here some Ubec carrots I got free from Baker Creek. I don't know if I can grow carrots in these containers. It's my first year using them. So I thought, well, you know, I didn't pick those carrots. I'll try. I'll put those in. Got radishes, radishes, and radishes. Those were all succession sowed again. That way I didn't have them all at one time. And I should have a, if I remember correctly, it should be the red globe, the Shawa fruit, and some more scarlet globes. It was a different type of globe radish. But yeah, just some radishes. See, I can grow chives. I pick off of these almost daily. I love these chives, but I can't get garlic chives to sprout for anything for me. I don't know why. This is stuff that I've already started to move out of the greenhouse. I've got another couple store-bought onions I'm saving for seed because, you know, you've got to have seed. More green onions in this pot. That's a celery from, really pointing everywhere. That's a celery from store-bought celery. I don't know if it'll make it. Got some extra Swiss chard that I can put into the garden, as well as these Purple Lady bok choys. They're doing really good. And this is a new container I just did of spinach. I had a mouse in the greenhouse, just like Cosmic Cultivators had rats, and that little sucker ate so many of my pea seeds. I mean, I filled these trays. I was adamant about getting peas going everywhere. And yeah, I'm just going to transplant these out into the garden and reseed around them. And that way, you know, I'll have succession peas as well. But I've got a couple of different varieties here. I've got an Alaska, I have a Bountiful Ben, and a Sugar Snap. These are Bountiful Bens as well. I threw these into this to do my experiment, and that video will be coming out soon. And that's just to see if I can heavily sow peas this way, and they actually survive. But that's everything outside. I'll take you in, and we won't go through everything inside, but I'll show you a majority of what I have. Well, there is Mama Cat that was in my greenhouse and messed up my plants, and it took me a couple days because she had babies. So it's a little cold here, so I brought him in. There's 6 kittens there total, and a pretty lovey mommy. She's a sweet girl. Okay, so this is the actual setup here in my game room. I just keep my kids' table, and I up pot on it a lot, and that way I can just sit and watch TV. And then I have another table over here, and it basically just holds extra supplies, trays, things that I can move in and out, and it gives me some space. It works out really well. I wish I actually had more room. But you can see all of my beautiful seedlings. I have been busy, so let me move the table, and we'll talk about what I got going on. Okay, I won't talk about every variety that I am growing because I have so much going on, but I'm ready to move these lights up a notch because my tomato plants have reached the light, and so I need to move them up. I do want to point out this tomato. Look at the foliage on that one. It's really hard to see in this light. Let me move it. Okay, so this is actually called a silver fir tomato. But that is not your standard tomato leaves. And it's going to be a beautiful plant. That was the reason why I got it from seed. That way I could see what it looks like. Because, yeah, it's a pretty tomato. With all the tomatoes that I'm growing, I'm focusing on a lot of canning varieties. I have Atkinson, Horizon, Neptune, Stone, things like that. I have a lot of slicers, and I have a lot of cherry tomatoes. Majority of that's going to be in rows out in my garden. I do have San Marzanos that I'm working on a lot of. Some speckled Romans. Can't remember the other ones, but I have a lot of varieties. And because I do seeds, I have even more varieties shoved in there, just 1 and 2 plants to save seeds from. So I have a ton of plants, but I'll do a video soon about all the varieties that I am actually growing. I have some struggles with a few. And then these are actually my python beans. I went ahead and started those, and then they've already been up potted. These are the last trays that I've done. I actually still have more to start, which is crazy because I have so much going on. But I have some okra in here, and I have some more marigolds. I tripled up on my marigolds this year. This looks like it is a eggplant. Got some different basil types that have started. More okras, some more flowers. This one is a banana pepper. I didn't have enough, so I started some new ones. These trays of nasturtiums are going to be heading out into the greenhouse. They can handle colder weather, so that's good. More tomatoes. If we go down another shelf, I've up-potted a lot of my peppers, and I'll do a video on those, focusing on bell peppers and sweet red peppers. That's what my big focus is this year. But down here are some more currant tomatoes and some more painted daisy flowers that I actually got from Abby. And then I got more marigolds and calendulas and all sorts of stuff. A bunch of eggplants. I went ahead and put those into larger pots. Looks like the soil's a little dry. Probably need to water in a little bit. And then I've got some basils, some celosia, and a bunch more peppers there. And then down on the bottom shelf, a lot more peppers. I have some wonder berries, some more basil. My cucamelons are in the back. And these suckers are getting big. So that's good. Anytime I grow cucamelons, I like to get them really big before I put them outside. Loofah gourds in the back. These are more eggplants. And then over here is just a tray of turnips. I'm going to be honest, I had to pause that to get up. I have done so much squatting in my garden in the last few days that I'm seriously like, I'm done. My legs are sore. But I did want to point out, yes, I have some peppers that look a little dry. I do need to water. I've just been busy. But the turnips down there are like sacrificial plants. I'm basically growing those to throw in clusters, not looking for bulb form, but just leaves. And that will attract all the aphids that I usually get. This whole bottom row is just peppers. There's a few random tomatoes in there. That's a tomato there. I usually don't up-pot them when they're this small, but man, I've got to get some room. Got a couple borage plants there, and that I believe is a dill. We'll see. My cat has been eating 90% of the stuff on these bottom shelves, so I'm trying to put some things there that he might not hurt me by eating. Coming up on this one, I have roselle, and I have some more basil, which this I'll up-pot here real soon. These are all of my zinnias. There's a little bit of basil tucked in there. Got my snake gourds, which have attached to my shelf. So they're ready to go outside. A lot more peppers. And then I have some goji berries. Saved seeds off my tree or bush last year. And I transplanted a bunch of those over. And I'm getting more goji berries. I absolutely love them. When you look up here at this tray, I've got some ground cherries. I've got some dragon fruit, chamomile. I guess that would be bonus points if you can guess what plant that is. Didn't have a whole lot of seed left because I shared a bunch, but I'm going to get those put in the ground somewhere because I'm going to at least try one more year to grow these. If you didn't guess, those are peanuts. Got some Malabar spinach behind that, more zinnias, a bunch more basil, lots of basil this year. And these are the tomatoes that I'm struggling with a little bit. You can see they're a little, not so great. These are the Atkinsons. A lot of times with heirlooms, some of them are a little slow, and they do have some transplant shocks and problems. But as I've always done when I move them out and actually get them like in sunshine, they're a lot happier. This tray, this is celeriac. Ashley's allotment grew some, and it looked beautiful. And he said it was absolutely delicious, so I wanted to try it. Do have some purslane, because I love purslane. And then I've got some stevia, and it's actually sprouted. Got quite a few little sprouts there. A bunch more chamomile, a bunch more flowers. That's the wisteria that I got from Chris and Gina. This beet tray in the back, that's all sacrificial. That's again just to attract the bugs that are going to like get onto my other plants. So because I had a lot of seed, I just threw a bunch in there to make clusters. This is actually a bunch of upland cress and mosh and watercress. I'm trying to do some different stuff in salads. It's a little weird, but it's not bad. These are Larkspur Flowers, and then that's some extra St. John's wort because the stuff I had was not doing well. But again, you can see I have tomatoes at different ranges, tomatoes at different sizes. This is actually a cherry tomato, so cherry tomatoes usually grow a lot faster. And then these are just newer ones, and then there's some that, I don't know, kind of succession sowed them so I didn't have to put them all out in one day because there's a lot of tomato plants. A lot. But that's what I'm working on. Got a tray over here that I did last night full of peppers and one little coyote cherry over there, tomato. And then there's the cosmic peppers. Whew, I got to sit down and get my list together so I can get ready for those. But I have been busy, and this will all get moved out into my greenhouse in the next couple weeks. And some of it will get moved out now so I have more room because you can tell I have a lot more to up pot. And then once that's finished, I get to start squashes, cucumbers, melons, all of those little fun things. So this will be filled right back up again. Or I'll just start them in the greenhouse. I don't know. Anyways, I want to thank you guys for coming by, checking out what it is that I have going on, and look for some upcoming videos for actual varieties that I'm growing, because I get asked a lot what it is that I'm growing. And I didn't want to go through every single tomato plant because I think I narrowed it down to 24 to put in the garden for me, just to eat. But I honestly think that I still planted another 60 varieties. I don't even remember. It was just like mad crazy planting way too many tomatoes. But thank you guys. And yeah, look for the new videos coming out, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.